Hello, Collective. Thank you so much for joining me today on Fortune's Wheel Tarot. This is going to be a reading from the Cantigee Oracle, an ecological, spiritual guide, and creative prompt deck. Many parts to the messages of these cards. Of course, as usual, I offer this for the highest good to benefit the planet. Release me from any and all blocks and restrictions. May this serve all who need. I've already shuffled this deck and pulled this card. Spirit and Angel Guides had me pull Your Delight Charms the World, number 13. Reduces to a 4. And just a note from the introduction about the Cantigee Oracle, because I was unfamiliar with this deck, but it is beautiful and I love the messages within. I am definitely a child of nature. So what is Cantigee? It is a word created from two roots, cantus, a word that can be translated as song, spell, or enchantment, and G, a suffix that translates as earth. Thus, Cantigee is a song the earth sings, a spell it weaves, an enchantment it emanates. This deck and book and all the archetypes within them are prayers of gratitude, healing, and awakening. So, of course, to be safe, with the YouTube rules now, there's, nothing really suggestive on this card, but a little suggestive. So I covered up some things here. You can see all the faces on this card. Some of them look a little leering to me, but most look kind and happy for the most part. So the message for this card: your delight charms the world. You are lost. Each time you think the terrain looks new, a moment later you find yourself back at the same mossy log with the fern growing off its decaying edge, next to the boulder that has a foot-like lump at the bottom. Your mood has shifted from hope to frustration to fear so many times that you finally sit down on the foot of the boulder, exhausted in every layer of your body, mind, heart, and spirit. You give up trying. You think you are heading into despair, but instead something else happens. You feel relief, and then immediately a profound joy emerges from deep within your bones. The joy of accepting instead of reacting, of being instead of doing. And now everything around you looks different. The gnats you were swatting at earlier now appear as delightful spirits, circling and glinting in the sunbeams, streaming through the forest canopy. You take delight in the intricate colors of lichen on the stone you cursed after passing it time and time again. You take delight in the path you suddenly notice, clear and wide, on the other side of a fallen branch you had walked past many times before, but somehow never noticed. Key notes of this card: when you generate contentment from within, your mind, body, environment, and circumstances shift accordingly. Find a still, pleasant, calm quietude in the center of all the complexities of your experience, like the hub at the center of a wheel. The symbology for this card: we humans tend to chase after things we think will make us happy, and to run from things we think will make us unhappy. You might strive after objects, experiences, a certain kind of relationship, status, role, or goal, but once you attain these things, you often don't feel any happier. On the other hand, it is possible to find joy even in trying circumstances when you embrace them. When you tune into feelings of contentment within, you will often find that humor, goodwill, insight, and inspiration become more accessible to you. The world appears different, full of possibility and wonder. Then you can enjoy your life regardless of your circumstances and what you have or have not yet attained. The guidance for this card: cultivate your capacity for generating contentment from within. This is not a matter of denying how you are feeling in the moment. It's a matter of observing and acknowledging your current emotional state as one sole factor within the greater scheme of your circumstances. If you look honestly at any single instant of your life, you'll find it's full of complexity. In any given moment, some things are going smoothly, while other things are falling apart or in a complete lull. In each moment, we have the option to sit at the center of our experience, allowing it all to occur. The happiness and the sadness, the frustration and the hope, the endings and the beginnings, the unknown and the manifest, the confusion and the clarity, all of it there for some quiet, content part of us to observe and learn from. This archetype is also an invitation to find delight within, rather than looking for things outside of yourself to shift your mood. If that feels inaccessible to you, then find delight in at least some aspect of your circumstances. No matter how difficult life is, there is always at least some small thing that can offer a lift to your heart. Look at the sky, the clouds, the shifts in light and shadow, or the graceful shape of a plant. Observe the unaffected activities and behaviors of animals, or the unashamed delight of a child. Listen to the sounds of water or wind. If you tune in, you can always find humor, wonder, or beauty. Notice how this shift in your mood and perspective shifts the tide in your experience. This card is an icon. Let this image remind you that the power to lift your heart is within you and nowhere else. Use this image to cultivate a space of pleasant contentment both in your inner world and in your personal space. This card is a portal. Let these inquiries open you to receiving the gifts of this archetype. What if you generate happiness from within for no outer reason? What if the world reflects your happiness back to you? This card in practice. Try this simple variation on the inner smile, a common Qigong meditation. Get into a comfortable position. If you are seated or standing, make sure your spine is aligned and your weight is evenly distributed. Relax into your body and breathe for a moment. Once you feel settled and present, continue into the next steps of the practice. As you inhale, let the corners of your lips rise into a gentle, slight smile. As you exhale, let that smile settle into whatever shape it wants to take. Notice how that feels in your face, and notice any shift in your mood or attitude. Each time you inhale, imagine that this smile spreads to a new part of your body, and each time you exhale, let the smile settle into that part of you. Perhaps you start with your face, then move back into your brain, then down your spine, then let your intuition guide you through the rest of your body all the way down to your feet. Before concluding, tune back into your breath and your overall mood, noticing any shifts that may have occurred through the meditation. The creative prompt for this card: create what delights you. Enter into a solo creative practice in an undisturbed space and time. Send your inner critic away on a coffee break. Put aside all thoughts of skill, craft, decorum, aesthetic, and outcome. Create based totally on what would be delightful in the moment, both in terms of what would feel good to do and in terms of what you would like to experience through your senses. What bodily motions would you like to feel yourself make in your creative process? Whether you're working in a sound-based medium or not, what sounds would you enjoy hearing as you create? Can you delight in the sound of typing if you're a writer, or the sound of a pencil rasping over paper if you're drawing or handwriting? Can you delight in the sound of your breath no matter what medium you're working in? Whether the outcome of your medium is something visual or not, what would look good to you through your creative process? Explore delight through each of the senses as you create. When you feel complete in your practice, notice how you feel. Consider if this practice opened any creative doorways by approaching your process through the lens of pure enjoyment. The ecological connection with this card. Cultivating an ability to generate a good feeling from within that is not dependent on outer circumstances has many positive side effects, including a greater sense of well-being and an increased ability to see solutions that were not apparent before. You'll find yourself residing comfortably in the rest and digest state of the parasympathetic nervous system, which improves your immunity, digestion, and sleep, and offers many more benefits that extend beyond you. When your happiness is not dependent on outer stimuli, you are less likely to consume or purchase unnecessary things. This means that you won't be taxing natural resources beyond your actual need. Less use of resources ultimately trickles down to a smaller carbon footprint. When you feel content, you are able to experience a generosity of spirit that inspires you to offer help, perhaps to an ecosystem, to the global environment, to people who have been displaced or harmed by environmental degradation, or to people who are working to protect the environment. You'll also be more primed to notice and more deeply appreciate the beauty of nature, which will further cultivate a desire to tend and protect the beauty you so appreciate. The moral of this card and this story is, if you let yourself feel happy, everyone wins. That is the most beautiful message, collective, and I am so happy to share that with you. If you liked this reading and you liked this video, please like and subscribe right now before you leave me, and I will see you again soon. Next time, love and light.